Hey guys, it's Phil coming back at you with another video. Today, I'm back. I'm excited. Hopefully everyone's doing well, practicing self-care, getting the job done, and doing everything that they need to, and not letting one thought, one situation, or one person get inside of their mind to avoid getting into that trap of like, man, I can't do this. I'm not even sure if what my processes and preparations are doing, or letting one question dictate everything that you need to do. So again, do not let one thought, one situation, one person, or anything take you outside of what you know to be true. And it sometimes is ourselves telling ourselves negative things, man. We are our own critics, but we are wanting other people to reassure us when we're not able to reassure ourselves. But this video is special because it's going to be another free study group this Saturday. I know. You guys are probably like, man, Phil, come on, man. You got to give me some time in advance. Well, actually, I haven't really shared this out publicly, but I'm actually getting married next Saturday, not the Saturday in the study group, but the Saturday after that. So I was going through my head of like, man, how am I going to make this work? How can I still dedicate time to the Fill in the Gaps community while also not trying to overcommit myself? So that's why it's last notice or short notice, and I appreciate every single one of you guys that are willing to rep and rock with me and are along on this journey, man. And if I seem a little bit nervous, man, because I got a new camera, and I'm a little nervous if it's going to turn out, but that's coming from the guy that started with a crappy camera, and you couldn't even really see me, so I'm just going to let it rip. So if the quality of the video is not up to par, just know that I have stuff going through my mind that I have to get out into the public. But before we get into all of that, a lot of times people are like, man, Phil, how can I rep and rock with you? How can I particularly get a part of this Fill in the Gaps community? The easiest way to be in a part of that and get into the Sunday study groups. The Sunday study groups are the easiest way to be able to get into the Fill in the Gaps community, understand what my style is, what the content could look like, and how not just to memorize the content, because I hear all the time, Phil, I've memorized it. The goal is not to memorize, it's to be able to recognize and apply the information when you see it inside of a question. And the next Sunday study groups are as follows. 1121, ethics, so we're going through the code of ethics and different ethical considerations, as well as practice questions to not just memorize it, not just have it just be like this abstract thing, but being able to actually tangibly grab it of like, what are these questions going to actually look like? 1128, DSM-5 adults and medication, so going through the different personality disorders, going the difference between bipolar 1 versus bipolar 2 disorder, the schizophrenia spectrum, as well as not giving you ways to memorize the medications, but ways to be able to recognize and apply the medications. So that way when you can go into the exam, it's not a blind side, but you're ready to get inside of the exam and just destroy it. Go in there and kick it directly in the chest to get the job done. 12.5, practice questions. So going through the 5-step process that I recommend everybody to utilize while breaking down the questions, while also getting into that mindset of like, man, what could these questions particularly look like? Because I feel like people think I'm kidding, but once I actually get inside of the session, like, holy smokes, these are the hardest questions that I've ever seen. And it's like, yes, I would rather have you go through difficult situations outside of the exam, aka in the study group, than to go into the exam and have it be way harder than what you've ever experienced in your given life. So if you come into these sessions trying to get every single thing right, do not have that expectation, because the goal is never to get a score. The score is not what we're looking at. It's to get to the core of the issue of what and how you're getting the answer correct versus incorrect. And if you've been in a previous practice question session, these are going to be 100% unique questions, so do not feel like it's just repeat questions, because I know other people tend to repeat the questions because it's easier for them. But every single practice question study group, I go through my mind and see what particular situations and scenarios that I can whip up to get you guys inside the mindset to go into the exam to kick it directly in the chest to get the job done. 12.12, research program development and evaluation. So going through the different stages of research, the different types of research, different concepts related to that, going through the different stages of program development, as well as the different types of program evaluation, and then going through practice questions related to those particular topics. 12.19, human developmental theories, going over Erickson's, PJ's, and Kohlberg's, as well as peeling back practice questions related to those. 12.26, meds and DSM-5, and you may be wondering, Phil, what's the difference between DSM-5 adults and meds and DSM-5? Well, the main difference is DSM-5 adults is going to be going over personality disorders, while DSM-5 in meds or meds in DSM-5 is going to be going over the different medications class: antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications, ADHD medications, mood stabilizers, and antipsychotic medications, and each diagnosis that could be related to those. And then going through practice questions, not just the generic and or brand name, but giving you ways to be able to recognize and apply both the generic and brand name, because at the end of the day, you want to be prepared if it shows up on your exam, as well as the first study group after the new year. That's right. When I wrote this down, I was like, whoa, 2022 is right around the corner. It is going to be on the acronym and practice questions. So going through each level of the acronym, understanding not buzzwords, not keywords, but understanding what these levels mean, and then breaking them down into practice questions. And again, just as I stated with the 12-5 session, do not come into that session expecting to get every single thing right, because the goal is never to get everything right, but to understand what is the right process to get you to the next level, to go into the exam, to kick it directly in the chest, to get the job done. And if you want any information related to those, send me an email at berda24@gmail.com, or click the link down below in the description, which is the thing that says view more under the title, and I have links to everything. And if you're like, Phil, I know the holidays are coming up, man, I want to rep and rock with you, but I'm going to be with my family, I 100% support that, because you want to be able to be present around your family. But if you're not able to attend the session live, it's 100% possible to receive the recording of the session. The easiest way to be able to do that is to sign up for the live session, because it adds your name to the email list to subsequently get the materials and the recording to view at your own leisure after the session. And that's the main difference, is you don't have to be there 100% of the time, because sometimes the sessions go very long because I just can't keep my mouth shut. No, I'm just kidding. I just want to share as much information as I possibly can to you guys, as well as if you're like, man, I don't see the topics that I want to see on this list, it's 100% possible to get the previously recorded sessions that I've done in the past. And the easiest way to be able to get the information related to that is send me an email at berda24@gmail.com, as well as I still offer individual tutoring. My schedule tends to be pretty hairy, especially around the holidays, because the holidays, especially Thanksgiving and Christmas, are times where I need to dedicate time to my family. So it's a very fluid process, but my tutoring schedule is still available. So if you want to rep and rock with me directly, and you're like, man, I'm not really sure what this guy's saying, or man, I just need that more focused time, or man, I'm going through it and I'm not sure how to get back into that mindset, my schedule tends to book out 4 to 5 weeks in advance, so be mindful of that. But send me an email at berda24@gmail.com, or click the link down below in the description. Again, it's under the title that says view more, and it'll allow for you to be able to get in contact directly with me. But if you're like, man, my exam is before then, it's 100% possible to get on the tutoring waiting list. And if anyone cancels their session, I send it out to the waiting list first, so that way it's not just an open water fight for people to be able to do that. And I know you may be wondering, man, when is the next one-day course? I haven't solidified that yet, because again, like I said, next Saturday I'm having a wedding, and then Christmas and Thanksgiving and all these different events, as well as I want to make sure the questions that I construct for that session are not just questions. I want them to be so difficult that you're able to go into the exam to kick it directly in the chest to get the job done. And like I always say, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate every single one of you that are repping and rock with me and are allowing me to be able to do this. And for those that do not know, Audible has continued to partner with me on my YouTube videos and my podcast. So if you want to support me as well as support them, go to my Audible affiliate link at audibletrial.com/fill-in-the-gaps. Sign up for the 30-day free trial. It really helps me out, and it costs you absolutely nothing. So if you're like, man, how do I support this guy that flies off the handle? Go to my Audible affiliate link at audibletrial.com/fill-in-the-gaps. Sign up for the 30-day free trial. It allows for you to get a free book as well. And if you're like, man, I don't want to type all those letters in, down below in the description, it'll allow for you to be able to go directly to the page, sign up, get your free book. And if you're like, Phil, I know you always talk about Audible and I want to support you, but what the heck is Audible? Well, Audible is an easy way to get information on the go. So if you're busy just like me, but you still want to become the best possible version of yourself, and or you just can't sit down and pad the pages of a book, similar to me, because I'm always everywhere, and I want to make sure that what I'm doing is still getting the information to stay ahead of where I think I should be. Audible is an easy way to get information and knowledge on the go, so you're able to supplement that via audiobooks. So an easy way to support me as well as get information on the go is go to my Audible affiliate link at audibletrial.com/fill-in-the-gaps. Sign up for the 30-day free trial. If you're like, Phil, what book should I get? There are a couple that I would recommend. The Alchemist, The Archer, Outliers, and Traumatized. Each are going to have different lessons that you can utilize not just professionally, but personally, because the goal is never to just progress in one area. It's to progress in every single area of your life, to be the best possible version of yourself, to be well-rounded. And if you could do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up. Down below, next to the title, is that thumbs up. It allows for other social workers to find me as well as anybody, man. The more likes that I get, the easier it is for me to be like, man, this really, really was helpful. As well as do me a favor, and people don't think this really helps, but down below, just drop a comment of what you're going through, positive things, anything that you took out of the video, because I don't know if anyone else reads it, but I definitely read it, and getting these comments of people being like, man, this is deep, or this is helpful, allows for me to be charged up and get to the next level to help you become the best possible version of yourself as well. And if you haven't already, click the subscribe button down below and hit the bell notification next to it, because it notifies you every single time that I upload a video. And if you haven't already, check out my podcast on Audible, Spotify, iTunes, and Stitcher, because it allows for you to be able to connect with me as well and get additional content. So my podcast is on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify at Fill in the Gaps. And I'm going to continue uploading on that because it's my goal to continue staying consistent and give you guys as much content as I possibly can, as well as let's get into the instructions on how to sign up for the free study group this Saturday, the 20th, and then I'll get into something that's been going through my mind, but I know sometimes people are like, man, I just need to skip past this because I want to just come to the free study group. That's A-okay. So the link that you need to go to in order to get to this page, if you don't know where the description is, because again, it's down below under the title that says view more, you need to go to fillinthegaps.as.me. And then that is going to populate a page of where you're going to be able to identify what is particularly going on with the study group. So again, go to fillinthegaps.as.me or click the link down below in the description, and then it'll bring up this page. And once you're on this page, of course, there's the tutoring stuff and all the rest of the stuff, but you will go to this free study group tab, select your time zone, and why your time zone is important, because it's going to allow for you to be able to understand when the session starts and what you particularly need to do in order to get the job done. So I'm in Eastern time zone, and a lot of times people get tripped up of, man, what do I do next, or how do I particularly get this done? You'll hit set time zone, and there will be only one time on this. So if you're viewing this video after the 20th at 3 p.m. Eastern time, it's not going to be on the calendar, because that confuses a lot of people as well. So you'll hit continue. You'll enter your name. My name is Philip Luttrell, and my email is berda24@gmail.com. So you want to make sure that whatever email that you put in is accurate to what you already know. Because again, if you put a typo in, the reminder emails are not going to go specifically to you. So be mindful to make sure that your email is 100% accurate to what you know to be true. So then hit complete appointment. This is going to be the link to the session. So if you want to keep it, you can just copy and paste it off of here. But as I stated before, there's going to be a reminder email. So there's going to be a 24-hour and 1-hour reminder email. So if you do not receive the reminder emails, you can reach out to me and be like, hey, I didn't receive these, to ensure that what you're looking at is actually going to get you inside of the session. So again, relatively easy process. Go to the website, fillinthegaps.as.me. Go and select your time zone. Select the calendar. Type in your information. Hit complete appointment. And then you're all signed up. So it's a relatively easy step on how to be able to rep and rock with the process. So that is how you sign up for the study group this Saturday, the 20th at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And it allows for you to be able to rep and rock with all of us. And if you're like, man, what is this study group going to be particularly about? Well, the study group is going to be people that have passed their exams and coming back and sharing their experience with us, because the easiest way to be able to recognize what works is to not just hear from me all the time, but hear from people that went into the exam to kick it directly in the chest to get the job done, as well as we're going to have people that are struggling to pass the exams or they need motivation, and I'm going to be providing practical tips for them to be able to go into the exam to kick it directly in the chest to get the job done. And that is what the free study group is. So do not expect to go into the study group and it be covering content like it would be a Sunday study group. This purpose of the session is for people to come back and share their experiences, as well as for people to get so pumped up and motivated that they can go into the exam to kick it directly in the chest to get the job done. And I know this happens all the time with people going into the session and being like, man, is this actually going to be helpful for me? Well, if you're coming to the session expecting it to be content or covering a ton of practice questions, we will cover some practice questions, but it's not entirely focused on that. So do not go into that session, because it is kind of is frustrating for other people when they're like, are we done with this? Because people's experiences is their experiences, and we need to respect everybody within those situations. So those are things that you can do in order to get inside of the session. But something that's been going through my mind is, what are people's blind spots, man? And what I mean by that is everybody wants to focus on what they're doing. Everybody wants to focus on what they're accomplishing. Everybody wants to focus on the things that they're doing great, but they know that they have vulnerabilities in their process. So if I'm driving my car and I never look over or never look back at what I'm doing when I want to change my lane, because if you failed the exam or you've been repping and rocking with a program that you're not even sure if it's working for you, you have to change a lane. But if you do not look at your blind spot behind you, or do not look in the mirror to see what's behind you, you'll never be able to get past that. But too many people hang their hats on well, I was a collegiate level professor, I was a collegiate level X, I'm killing the game, I have honors, this exam is disrespecting me and stripping me of the title that I know that I have. But it's not what you do that makes you who you are, it's who you are while doing it. So do not let your blind spots take you outside of the spot that you know that you need to be in. Because we all know the topics and things that we need to improve on, but if we're not looking past what we need to, we're going to be stuck in that moment, and we are going to blame ourselves, not the situations, not everything that we've been doing, but we are going to subsequently blame ourselves and not let ourselves get past what's behind us in order to get in front of us. But if you're driving a car and you only look forward and you go to change your lane, boom, it's an accident, and you're going to blame yourself, and everybody's going to be blaming you, and you will absorb it. But again, if you would have taken an additional second or additional moment and looked back and gave yourself the credit, not for what you did, but who you are while doing it, you'd be in a better position, because it's not what you succeed and do well, it's what you've improved on and what you no longer struggle with that is going to make you struggle less in the future. So do not let one thought, one situation, one person, or anything take you outside of what you know to be true. And I hear all the time, man, Phil, I'm so happy for this test. And it's like, but you have no fear at all? Nothing. And then they start saying like, man, I am scared. Okay, well then you have to start with that. If I'm scared, but I'm comfortable and confident in what I can particularly do. But if you do not look at that blind spot of what you want to hide, because there's somebody I was talking with, they're like, man, Phil, I think I'm going to fail this test. And it's like, why? Why do you think you're going to fail? You haven't even gone in there yet. They're like, man, I failed it twice before. That was you in the past. But if you don't look in your past, you're never going to be able to get past who you were back then. That's a blind spot. It's easy for us to overcompensate on the things that we're doing well. It's easy for us to hang our hats on our previous accomplishments. It's easy for us to do the easy steps. But in order for you to shine like the diamond that you are, you have to be able to put yourself under pressure. But do not self-impose the pressure, because when you start putting pressure on yourself, you try to make things certain. And what you are doing is actually creating this modality of I need to be further ahead, or I need to be doing all these things in order to be successful. But the only thing that you need to be doing to be successful is being you. Doing what you need. I don't care what that person says. I don't care what that program says. I don't care what your friend says. I don't care what your supervisor says. I don't care what your partner says. If they're not telling you positive things, cut them out. Because I'm getting sick and tired of people beating up on amazing social workers, including people beating up on themselves, but building other people up. You need to start building yourself up first, create a village and kingdom that you would want to bring other people into versus like, man, I need to do this in order to be worthy. You are worthy of being worthy based on who you are. You've been put on this planet to do amazing things, but if you tell yourself, I'm in a maze and I'm never going to find myself, of course you're not going to find yourself, but if you never look at the things that you're not proud of, or you never look at the things that you feel vulnerable or anxious or worried about, of course they're going to come back around because it's like an egg that you hid in your house. It smells. But if you forget where you put the egg, it is going to make the rest of your life smell. So in order to get in the positions, do not let the pressure crush you. And what I mean by that is do not try to create so many certain situations to create certainty. So what that looks like is you're like, man, I'm repping and rocking with this one program. They're telling me I have to go down the Farm Grits Road, or they're asking me, are you safe? For this other program saying, don't utilize the strategies and techniques that I know to be true. Or this other program's telling me every time I see right to self-determination, Child Protective Services, Adult Protective Services, or feelings, or assess, it has to be it, or I have to rule out medical or substance use immediately. Those are not the case. Why? Because every single question is different. And you need to start viewing yourself as different, so you need to stop generalizing who you are and thinking that you're in general of what you're supposed to be doing. Because if you get into this mode of creating sure, and you're making sure that you're sure of everything, you're going to immobilize yourself. Because you're going to let what you don't know paralyze you. But if you notice the things that you don't know, identify ways for you not to become an expert, but for you to examine it and assess exactly what you need to do in order to get the job done, you are then going to be able to shine like the diamond that you are. But if you keep throwing dirt on yourself, you're never going to get discovered. You're never going to discover what you particularly need to do to become the best possible version of yourself. And it's where you think that you should be that is robbing you where you should be at right now. It's where you think you should be of why you're robbing yourself of where you need to be right now. Because of what you've been through is what you needed to go through in order to be where you're at right now. You had to go through what you went through to get to where you belong. So it may not have been a positive thing. It may not be something that you're proud of. It may not be something that you're excited to announce or own or embody. But it's your life and your body. Control it. Control what you can control, but do not try to create certainty in a situation that you have no control over. Because there are certain facts that I know to be true. You will not be able to control the questions on the exam. You will not be able to control how the receptionist treats you. You will not be able to control the process of it's like a prison administration. You will not be able to control the process of the person taking a test next to you. You will not be able to control the process of what people are doing leading up to the exam. But what you can control is the reaction that you have when the actions that you're taking are not what you want to do. But I hear it all the time, man. Phil, the anxiety took me over. It's okay. Anxiety is real. It's clinical. But if you don't have the coping skills and ways to redirect yourself, you're going to get directed in a position that's going to take you out. So that is what's been heavy on my head is do not put so much blame on yourself and start shaming yourself about things that you can't even subsequently control. You can't control the questions on the test. You can't control what somebody said to you. You can't control how crappy the environment that you're in is. But what you can control is that this is temporary, and I would rather have you go through temporary pain than a lifetime of suffering. I'd rather have you go a short term of pain than a lifetime of suffering. So do the next right thing and allow for yourself to be vulnerable. Allow for yourself to examine the blind spots behind you. Because if you never look behind you, it looks sweet. You never look behind you, it's easy. It's comfortable. It's like, man, life's good. I'm succeeding. Here's everything that I need to do to be successful. But if you never look back, you're going to lose the blessings in that. And if you look at the words blessing, it has less in it. But in order for us to feel like we need to bless somebody, we feel like we need to do more. In order for us to get a blessing, we feel like we have to do more. But the word's telling us to do less. You need to do less in order to become more of who you are to give more out. So you shouldn't be looking to do more. You should be looking to do less, but focus specifically on what you need versus what other people are telling you that you need at that moment. As well as the word lesson has the word less in it too. But when we're looking at a lesson, we're like, man, I ain't here to get a lesson. Get out of the way from me. I don't need a lesson. I need a blessing. But they're both telling you to do less and you're adding more. You're adding too much onto your plate where you're not even able to run the race that you're supposed to. And if you're looking at it, you need to start giving yourself grace rather than to embrace for the situation. Because when you brace for it, you're not prepared for it. But when you give yourself grace, it's like, I know I've done everything that I need to do to get to this moment. So do not let one thought, one situation, one person, or anything take you outside. And you need to start looking in that blind spot, because if you never look into that, you'll never get into the spot that you want to be in. Even if you pass the test, you may get into positions that you don't feel like you deserve to be in, and then you get stripped of them because you know that you don't deserve that. But you deserve everything that you've wanted based on the fact that you've gone through what you went through in order to get to where you deserve to be. So shine bright like the diamond that you are. Go into the exam, kick it directly in the chest. Get the job done. If you need anything from me, send me an email at berda24@gmail.com. I hope to see you guys in the Sunday study groups. Hope to see you Saturday for the free study group. Hope to see you in individual tutoring. And continue becoming the best possible version of yourself. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate every single one of you that allows me to be able to do this. And that's not lost on me. That's why I'm like, man, I need to continue doing everything that I said that I was going to do. At the beginning of the year, I said I was going to do a free study group every single month. And I'm going to keep that promise to you guys because I love you. And I'm never going to say something out loud that I don't truly mean. Because a lot of times people will say things just to sell something or just try to make an image. I will do the dang work in order to get the job done, because I know that we need as much consistency as we possibly can. I love every single one of you guys. Take care. Be safe. I'll see you guys in the next video. In peace out, guys.